Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, this is going to be a reading on Stormy Daniels. She's got her her testimony, I say, not her court case, but her testimony coming up for the hush money payment starting on the 15th, so 4 days from now, as I record this on April 11th. And I'm curious, what's the energy around her right now? And how is the trial going to turn out for her? Entertainment purposes only. Come on down. Let's dive on in. Stormy Daniels, otherwise known as Stephanie Clifford. What's the energy like around her right now? Deck is upside down. Yes, it is. Temperance. It's not the calm before the storm, but it's kind of the calm before the storm. She's getting ready to tell her story, and although she's an adult film star, this is about purification. I'm pausing here. It's about purification, and people may not think of an adult film star as being a pure person, but this is going to be a purifying event for her. Stopping right there, jumping up. Why do I say that? I had to take a break. I read a story. I just did a quick search on Stormy Daniels just to see what the news has been like on her. And one of the stories I looked up was an NPR story about, I guess she had a documentary that came out or is coming out. And in it, she describes how she was sexually assaulted by a neighbor when she was 9 years old. And then going fast forward, when Donald Trump came out and started assaulting her, said the reason why she didn't fight back was because she was instantly 9 years old again. And it's infuriating. For people that aren't empathetic or just like, well, you should have just said no. It's like, you haven't lived you probably haven't lived what she's been through. For those who have lived what she's been through, that emotional trauma could have snapped right up there to the point where, you freeze instead of reacting or something along those lines. So I think the testimony, holding this adult to account, she was in her 20s, Trump was in his 60s when this happened, would be similar to like when she was 9 and holding an adult to account. That adult has since passed. But this is like that, almost like reliving that trauma, but this time she's a composed adult and can play it all the way through. Not be a victim, but basically play it all the way through. And this might be extremely healing for her. Crossed with the Ten of Pentacles. Her court cases against Donald Trump have not gone the way she's wanted them to. Trump basically has defamed her, but his defamation didn't rise to the level where she could bring a case against him. And she did try to bring a case against him, and she appealed when a judge tossed out that case. She lost that appeal, and she now owes Donald Trump and his lawyer $600,000 that she's going to have to figure out how to pay. So she's got a couple things going on here. Emotionally, she needs to heal and purge herself, but she's facing financial challenges because of her fight against Donald Trump. And again, she's been delivered things in the past. Even Michael Avenatti, when she had her book deal out and stuff like that, Avenatti ran off with the money basically and ripped her off. So whenever she seems to have money that comes into her life, seems to come with corrupt men. And that's just another thing that she might have to deal with, is getting to allow for money to come in that doesn't allow corruption from a patriarchy that's hitting her. She's been dealt a lot of setbacks. And hopefully at this point, she can move past all the setbacks that she's had in her life and lead a stronger life going forward. In the past, you got the Five of Coins. Just things losing. Again, what happened to her when she was a child, what happened to her with Trump, trying to get justice in the justice system from that, and David Pecker buried her story. She was having a book deal and she was getting ripped off by her attorney. She tried to hold Trump accountable for defamation, lost that case. So financially, she's on the outside looking in. But societally speaking, for somebody who was attacked at a young age and going into the adult film industry and such, she's kind of on the outside of society too. But that's in the past. What do we have now? Judgment is the current situation. Right now, it's letting everybody know what happened, the timeline of how it happened, what she owns and what he has to own. I think her story is going to ring true. There's no reason for her to lie. Some people might say, well, she's just a gold digger or something like that. There's no money she's getting out of this. She could even go down the path as being a feminist. There's nothing wrong with her fighting for women's rights and such. Her profession is irrelevant to that, or maybe in some ways it's extremely relevant to that. Overarching energy is the King of Pentacles. It's not just Trump, though. It's wealthy men in general, men of power and wealth that's the subject here. Again, David Pecker, who owned the National Enquirer, or was the editor of National Enquirer. He doesn't own it, but he's the one that paid her some money and then buried her story. Trump, did what he did and then threw some money to keep her quiet. Again, Avenatti took some money from her. Just powerful men with control over the money. And it's kind of a recurring theme of things that she has to deal with. The lesson to be learned from all this, I do believe this is all coming back from her childhood and the trauma that she suffered in her childhood. It's playing itself out all the way through. I'm hoping this time she actually can see it all the way through and work past this. Out comes the Three of Coins. She's kind of a dark horse, a wild card in this trial. Because she's providing information of things that happen behind closed doors. Also, there could be some financial opportunities that might pop up after all this is said and done. It's funny. One of the things, and this could have already happened, I didn't bother looking, things that came to mind is after this trial, Stormy Daniels should just start a GoFundMe to help her pay her legal bills. I'll bet she could raise $600,000 to pay that off. Hell, if, the so-called billionaire can have some rando person start a GoFundMe for him and raise a few $1 million to help pay off his fraud against the New York State, why can't you come up with $500,000, $600,000 to help Stormy Daniels out? Just a thought. Okay, what do we got? Okay, so that's what she's kind of dealing with right now. How will her testimony go in the trial? How will the jury view her? How's her testimony going to impact the trial? The Magician, manifesting, bringing stuff to light. Not so much bringing stuff to light, but it's the manifestation. It's the creation of something. I think she's going to have she's going to have an impact on it. I was talking about Michael Cohen in my other reading, him being the base of the soup, and she's like the chef. She's going to add, I think she's going to add a bunch of pizzazz to this trial. Her testimony is going to be the one that gets everybody paying attention. We've heard Michael Cohen. We know what Michael Cohen's about. We know kind of the facts, but she's bringing the spice. She's bringing the sizzle to this trial. When her testimony comes up, it's not televised. But if it were televised, her testimony would be the most watched testimony. So I think when probably when you're looking at social media clicks at like CNN or NPR any of the AP News or something like that, when they're reporting on this, when her testimony comes up, you're probably going to see a spike in traffic because people are going to want to know what she has to say. Temperance. She's working through things. Her testimony is really going to help her work through things. And I think also her testimony is going to change people's minds about her and who she is. They might have some preconceived notions as to who they think she is, but when they actually see her as a living, breathing human being, as opposed to some, concept, I think it's going to make a difference. Underneath is the Four of Swords, the meditation, the contemplativeness. I think she's going to come across again as a bit more insightful and intellectual might be too strong a word, but she might come across as way more intellectual. She's going to give people time to pause and think about things. I think that's what I'm trying to say, is that after she's done testifying, it's her testimony that's going to give people pause, and it's going to make them rethink things. Because they can dismiss Michael Cohen as being, the butthurt former lawyer, but that's not her. And I do think that there might be some preconceived notions that are going to cause people to rethink their positions. Just like Michael Cohen, we've got justice in the past. She suffered from her own legal setbacks, but I think she's coming in here just like Michael Cohen, got the same card in the same position. She's coming in here to testify and tell the truth. She wants justice to be served in this. How's her testimony going to work? Oh yes, evangelical family values all the way. The manifesting and the purification. I think she's going to share her story, and it's going to resonate with people. It just is. Hers is not the American dream as it would be dreamed up of a happy husband and wife and 2 kids, playing around with their home in the background under the rainbow. She's had a much different path. But that doesn't make her any less sympathetic or any less valuable in her testimony in the trial. Again, I just see a lot of resonance. We've got 3 major arcana here. People contemplating and resonate, and she's resonating with folks. Overarching energy is the Hierophant. In some ways, she kind of exposes the corruption in government, the corruption in society on how women are treated. Yeah, she's an adult film star. I'm not saying she's embarrassed by that, but that can be a very difficult life for women. It's not exactly known as being kind and thinking highly of women. You know what I mean? It's usually the exact opposite. But I think over all of this is kind of big organizations that maybe, I don't want to say failed her, but she had every right to fall through the cracks in society. And she hasn't. The lesson to be learned is folks have been coming after her for a while. The threats have been going after her more and more. They've gotten more violent. Again, that NPR article before was like, you're a slut, you're a gold digger. Now it's, I'm coming over to your house to slit your throat type of thing. And it's caused a lot of strain. She said her soul is tired, but she's fighting on. She wants to tell the truth. I think the lesson to be learned is this woman's going to bring a lot of pain to Donald Trump. And I think it's not the backstab. It's the humiliation. She knows how to bring the pain that actually is going to hurt Trump. And that's going to be through his ego. I think she's going to be a little bit saucy, shall we say, in some of her testimony, but it's going to be believable. A lot of it's going to be believable, and then I think she's going to bring details that would be somewhat irrefutable. You know what I mean? Stuff that only Melania should know about, right? Uh, how does Stephanie Clifford know about that? She should know about that. Because Trump's been all over the map as to what he's been saying about this woman. So, which story is Trump and his lawyers going to stick with? That he's never met her before. He only met her once for a picture. It was consensual. Which story do you want to stick with? Because you've made up all sorts of different stories. Outcome is the King of Wands. I think, like Michael Cohen, she's going to come across as believable and as a force in this trial. Between her and Michael Cohen, they are going to paint a picture that's going to cause people in the jury to go back and evaluate their testimony and what that means for their notions of what Donald Trump has done, which is exactly what a witness is supposed to do. But I think, again, my thought is for those that maybe are Trump supporters, it's going to be very difficult for them to reconcile the person that they think Donald Trump is versus the evidence of who he actually is. And I do think that other people in the jury will help them get there. Does Stephanie Clifford need to worry about her security, her well-being through this? I'm curious how that's going to look for her. How about Stephanie Clifford, Stormy Daniels' security, her well-being, up to and through and immediately after this trial? Four of Wands, homecoming, wedding, opening day. It's kind of a new chapter in a way. Let's see. Things are different. What's changed here? Fighting, a lot of action. I don't want to say it's like open season on her. I think she's going to be okay. I think she's going to be okay. To me, the Trump population, they'll go after her on the short term because they can. But again, I think it's Michael Cohen they think of more as the betrayer than Stormy Daniels. Stormy Daniels, they just basically think she's a gold digger. And that will, I think, her safety she'll be fine soon enough. She'll have to be vigilant, but Cohen's going to have to be not vigilant for the rest of his life. She's going to have to be vigilant just for a while, and she'll slip off of people's radars, as it were. But that depends on how public she goes. Again, if she decides she's going to be an advocate for women's rights and things along those lines, does she have to worry about security? Well, no more than any other outspoken woman would need to worry about their security. In the past, we got the Six of Wands. She's obviously very well known in the public circles. Her face is shown. She's been in movies and she's had successes in her movies. She's got a book, again, I think, it's not really telling me about her security. I think after this trial's done, she's going to have new opportunities. Doors are going to open up and she can choose which door she wants to go through. Her testimony is going to be successful, and then opportunities are going to come up. More book deals, more things about her life. There's going to be offers. She's going to be in demand for a while. And in some ways, she has to kind of think. She might, after all this, she might have to stop and think, okay, what direction do I want my life to take? She's going to be given opportunities. Which direction do I want to go with this? I'm going to totally lose the security thing here. This is already jumping to me. What's her life going to be like after this trial? One of the things I'm hoping she's learned from all this is to understand who's sincere and who's trying to rip her off. Because, again, in those previous readings, that whole temperance was to heal those past wounds, which include men trying to manipulate and control her. Knight of Cups in the low energy can be that false friend. In the high energy, it's all these offers that can come forward. Yeah. Lesson to be learned. There's a lot of opportunity that she can take. If she sits down and thinks about where she wants to go with her life and the actions she takes, she's going to make the right connections, and it's going to be lucrative and valuable for her. Outcome is the drunken hillbilly brawl. You're always going to have Trumpers going after her in some way, shape, or form. The ones that'll recognize her. Again, if she becomes an advocate for women's rights, she's going to stay in the public. She will stay in the public view, and there's always going to be a little bit of a ruckus wherever she goes. But I think her life is about to get very, very busy, and this could be really busy in a good way because it's almost like a remarketing, a rebranding of Stephanie Clifford, a rebranding of Stormy Daniels. And it doesn't have to be Stormy Daniels, the porn star anymore. It could be Stormy Daniels, the women's advocate. And stepping up for women's rights and things along those lines. I kind of like that. I shouldn't hope anything for her. I hope she can find peace, and I hope she chooses the path that best serves her. That her, whatever her spiritual journey is, I hope this helps her along with it. Anything else with Stephanie Clifford? The Lover's card. Oh, maybe in a relationship. I heard she got divorced. All this stuff was very difficult on her marriage. Hey, Nico. Anything else you want? But just a general. Anything else you want to share with me? Stephanie Clifford, a few years down the line, what are things going to look like for her? Yeah. I think I'm going to have a cat visiting me in a second here. There he is. Yes. Can I help you? Why must you do this? Hey, come on, say hello to everybody. Come here, Miko. I have to let the camera readjust. Tap the screen. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Can I throw cards on you? Are you going to be a good mat for me to throw cards on? Well, give it a whirl. He'll probably just end up playing with them. Little four-carder. What's next for Stephanie Clifford? Kind of, a few years down the line, what's going to be the challenge that she's going to face here? Actually, you know what? Instead of throwing that, I want to throw instead, what is the challenge she's supposed to overcome? What is the spiritual lesson she's supposed to overcome by going through this thing with Donald Trump? Is this just, again, dealing with narcissistic, wealthy, powerful men and her dealing with it? Okay, we'll get the cat reading here. Empress. It's about the power of the divine feminine. It's about coming into her own strength as a woman. Again, the stuff that she went through as a child and even as an adult with Donald Trump, she's now, she's coming into her power. That's where I'm going with that. What's helping her get into that power? Justice. She's going to see justice. The justice system is going to help her. And it's going to be justice for her and justice for women. The Hanged Man. she's going to look at life differently, and life's going to look at her differently. She might have a whole new outlook of life once she's through this. Look at that, 3 major arcana. And the drunken hillbilly brawl with the Queen of Wands underneath. So what is her spiritual lesson on all this? It's, she's got to take care of herself and, really embrace her divine feminine and be a woman of power and a woman of vision and what she's going to do with that vision. What's she going to do? It could be something that helps women and women's rights. She can be an advocate that is different than all the other advocates out there because of her unique background. And she's also a fighter. She's not somebody who's just going to lie down and roll over, because that's not the impression I get is that's not her style. There we go. Knows he's trying to eat my bracelets. He's a weirdo. I'll hold my hand up here. Yeah, see? You want to eat them, nums. You are a pain in the butt. Come here. Say hello to all the good people. Meow, 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 meow. Now go away. Yeah. She's a fighter. She's I think she's going to bring a lot of. She's going to find her strength inside. And he's coming up again, and that's a good thing. All right, the cat is clearly wanting attention. He says, "You've had enough of this reading. It's all about me now," and we will just let him have his way in this regard. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Thank you for your kind words, your thumbs ups, and everything you do to feed the YouTube algorithm so that my channel makes it out to new viewers and cat lovers everywhere. And to those new viewers and cat lovers just discovering this channel recently or for the first time, welcome. I missed it. Almost got his tail. Welcome to the channel. We don't always have Black Cat's video bomb videos, but it does happen. Glad you found us. Anyways, thank you very much for supporting this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.